All righty. All right. So, hey, Miss. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I know this is strange for us to be on live on
Yes.
a Sunday, but we thought it was very important since I can only get my girl, Miss Camille, and when I get her, I have to snatch her because she's so busy. So I am
Yes.
so glad she reached out to us, wanting to discuss this, important topic, right? So I would love to welcome Miss Camille Burke
Thank
to our live. Welcome, girl. Welcome.
thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm going to say, Camille, thank you so much for coming. And I will say this is the Let's Connect show that we have here. As Reese was introducing, I just want to reiterate for everybody who's checking us out. Okay, thank you guys for being with us. This is the Let's Connect show. We're usually here on Mondays, but instead today is a Sunday because the lovely Camille is with us and she's
Yes.
got something important to chat about.
And
So
it won't be the usual 2 hour show. This is going to be maybe 45 minutes, just
okay.
to touch on this important topic. And the topic today is how celebrity death affects no the effects of celebrity death on mental health. Did I get that correct, Miss Camille?
Yes, you did.
Yes, so that is a mental illness is so, I mean, common. So everywhere
Yes.
you turn, everywhere you turn is mental illness, mental health. And it is very important that we discuss this, especially in our community, because Black people think that, oh, mental ill, I mean, they want to hide it because of the stigma behind it, right? How people are going to view them if they hear that they have this illness, you know? So with that being said, Camille, just give a little bit of background about you so our listeners or people that are watching know that we didn't just Google you.
Okay, well, let's see. My name is Camille Burke. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I have over 15 years experience, just practicing with different ages from the womb to the tomb. Okay, so I see a plethora of clients from different cultures, different age, different ethnicities. But for today's topic, we're going to be talking about something that has affected us all in different ways. All of us have at some point known someone who's passed. Sometimes the people are close, but for the purpose of this topic tonight, it's celebrities, right?
Right.
How does celebrity death affect our mental health? So we all have had a celebrity or two that, whether we were a fan about or cared about or heard about, that when we found out that they die, it has affected us sometimes in ways that we didn't think that it would.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the recent death of, I mean, Carol, I know maybe you don't know because you're not with the young people.
Oh my goodness, you just called me out there. That's so wrong.
But
Just
see
throw
that
me under the bus.
see that I roll with the youngins, we had a
So right there, you just showed your age. You roll with the youngins.
I roll with the youngins. So I don't know if you heard.
Youngins would say that.
So I don't know if you heard about the group Migos, right?
Yeah.
Three, they're actually related, right? So the younger one, Pat, they shot him, 28 years old, senseless, right? Another one was Pop Smoke. He was also, murdered and senseless. And I read where, I don't remember the rapper's name, but and the name of the rapper that got from Migos, his name is Takeoff. And a rapper actually commented that he's out of the rap game. That affected him. He was like, he's out, he's done with it. So that instantly you could see affected him, right? So let me ask you this, Miss Camille. How do you feel the string of killing of rappers influences mental health?
Okay. Well, there has been a very long list of rappers who've been killed in my era growing up, 80s, 90s, actually 90s really. Tupac and Biggie were the biggest rapper deaths that I faced
Yes.
as my generation, older millennials grew up. But in today's times, I can't keep up with the rappers that have been killed. It feels like every month. It feels
Mhm.
like too often to count. And I used to keep track, but it's a lot. So I just feel as if we are affected by that in ways that it just brings us the reality of what's happening around us and the somberness that it entails. It's definitely an eye opener, and it just creates a somber atmosphere. It creates a pause on
Mhm.
everything, allows us to reflect really deep into our thoughts and puts us on pause and causes a lot of us to ask the questions why,
Mhm.
right? Because we can connect with people who've never met us. They don't even know that, or their family wouldn't even think that their death would have affected us the way it did.
Yeah. You know who that happened to me with? Don't even know. She don't even trust me, celebrity. Tracy Braxton, when
Mhm.
she passed,
Mhm.
that I was, yeah, when she passed, you would think that I knew her. I really felt it like, wow. And this is somebody that don't even know that I exist.
Right.
So I understand where, how, I don't know why that is.
Mhm.
So why do you think it affects us so much when we hear a celebrity as opposed to a loved one or an acquaintance or
I think we're all affected, whether, it's a close one, a loved one. But in reference to the show of celebrities, I feel like we look at them as they're immortal, right? We put them on this pedestal as if they're larger than life. They're celebrities because we celebrate them. And in part of us celebrating them, we do not humanize them. We
mm,
we immortalize them. So we don't think of death, we don't think of anything bad, we don't connect them with the human side. And when they pass, a piece of us, we lose a piece of us. A piece of us, I think, dies with them. Now we have to rearrange our life
mhm.
and to go on without them.
You know that Aaron Carter just passed. I don't know if you know he's the brother of the Backstreet Boys. 34 years old. They found him dead today. Hmm.
Wow, I didn't even hear that one yet.
I heard that. Yeah, today. Just actually an hour before we came on, I saw the news that he
I
passed.
don't think that was today though. I think that
No,
was like yesterday or something. Yeah.
or he passed yesterday, but I'm just seeing the news today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wow.
And
You
then
know,
another one was Whitney Houston. When Whitney Houston passed, that
Yeah.
for
one was
me, it's not even just all big time celebrities and stuff like that. I know, Reese, I talked about this on the show before here, and I'm
mm,
going to repeat that for Camille's purpose as well, and for everybody who's listening who may not have heard me say it before. But that young lady, her name was Chesley Christ, right? She was the TV show host on Extra television show. Beautiful girl. She was a lawyer. She was Miss USA. Da, da, da. I mean, I remember, and I watch her program a lot because I watch Extra, and a lot of times, as Reese I would pick up certain headlines or whatever, and we talk about them here as well. So I used to watch her all the time, and she was always so radiant and bubbly and happy. And then, still to this day, I'm telling you, Camille, her death affects me, and it affected me
always
then.
talk about
And
it.
I always talk about it because it just hit me like a ton of bricks so much. And it's like you said, we in a way, a lot of us regular folks live our lives vicariously through some of these celebrities, right? Because they get to do things that we don't get to do, and blah, blah, blah. So we want to do a lot of what they're doing, you know, and I'm not speaking necessarily for myself, but, you know, for everybody who's listening and who are experiencing this, it's one of the reasons why, like you said, we don't see them as human, we see them as bigger and better, whatever, because
Yeah.
they're doing all the things that some of us will never get to do in our
Yep.
Yeah,
life,
literally.
you
Yeah.
know? So that's the reason why we're so attached to them. And but the other thing we have to remember, right? And if you could talk about that a little bit, Camille, is when we see what we see is not always necessarily the real, the truth, because they're showing us
Exactly.
what they want to show us. And then we attach ourselves to that, and that's not necessarily the truth. And then when we lose them, that's the reason it affects us so much, because we never thought of them as mortal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like you said, Carol, we vicariously live through them. Some of us have even created our lives based on some of these housewife shows. Some of the things we do, the gender reveals or the way we dress, you know, the fashion statements that we make, or some of the places where we go. Some restaurants that were on the show, there's some that are in Miami, and I have friends who go there because so-and-so's husband owns it or used to own it, or ex-husband, you know, the affiliation
Yeah.
that's connected to this person that, you know, you would have never interacted with other than that person being connected to someone you'll never meet on the housewife shows. So we vicariously, you know, live through that.
Yeah.
Carol is 100% correct when it comes to that.
Yeah. And you know, it's just, but again, I just want to reiterate because a lot of, I feel like we hear about these celebrities, right? That you hear about this drive-by shooting, and you hear about, you know, all this tragedy, and they didn't even know what was happening, even with what happened with Nipsey Hussle, what happened with the young man that was,
I forgot about him.
yes. And the other artist that was in like a Waffle House, something, I forget where he was.
Yes, that was last month.
Yes, that was very recent.
September.
I didn't hear about that one.
That was September, yes.
That
They
just
found
happened.
they found the people.
Risa, you think I don't know nothing? See, girl,
I
I'm
see.
on the game.
I see.
You know, and he was there, and I think he was with his girlfriend, or, you know, his other half, or he was with, and I believe that she may have, you know, inadvertently posted that they were there and not really realizing that, and then somebody just decided to go over there. So the thing is, a lot of times what we see and what we hear, and a lot of times artists put messages in their music, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's real life, you know. But other people take this to be, because everybody wants to live the life that they're living, and they want to do what they're doing. So what they see them post on social media, you know, the big bright flashing lights, the grand life that they're living, as well as maybe what they're saying in some of their music, you know, other people think that that's real, and they want to live that. So they go ahead and they try to emulate that, right? And that's where they make the mistake.
Yeah, and they don't understand most of their jewelry is rented.
Crazy.
They don't
It's
own
crazy.
much of anything. I've worked with rappers' families who the rapper has passed, and there's not really any money. They're literally begging other celebrities to bury that rapper who one would think.
That's a different show right there.
Okay.
I'd never understand that. I never understand. They're in the clubs, they have the fancy cars, they're flying here and there. And it's you know, and it's really a shame. It's really a shame.
It's shocking. These rappers some of them have won Grammys, you know, and they're not able to cover other expenses. So yeah,
there's a whole thing behind that. And a lot of times, you know, being an artist is not necessarily that you're business minded.
no,
two different things.
Mhm.
And in order to even be successful, you have to understand the business and how it works. And when they're, in all the fancy garments and the fashion, the highest fashion labels and all of that, and the big chains and all of that is for promotions and marketing.
That's it.
That money comes out of their budget prior to them even seeing a cent.
But
Which
you
is
know
one of
what?
the reasons why a lot of them, they end up with no money, and they don't own, sometimes, not all of them, they don't own the rights to their music and all of that. So it is a business again. And if they're not educated and all they see is the flash and, oh, I'm going to be a big star, then, that's one of the reasons why they end up, when they pass, they have no money, and we think that they're living the high life, but they don't have any money.
But I'm thinking too, maybe because of the way they were brought up, they didn't have money when they were younger. So they're coming out of the ghetto or the poor neighborhoods, right? So now they have all this money. They don't know how to act because they never had it before, right?
Right.
They never had all this money. So this is what all they're seeing is money. They're not thinking, as you said, about the business side of it, right? So you have some of them that was in drugs or whatever, and all of that is following them too when they have this new fame, right? They may have bad beef with somebody before, and now they're up on top. No, stuff like that. So all of that has to be taken in consideration. So Camille, another thing I wanted to ask is, what do you think the mourning process? Because Quavo and I forgot the other cousin's name. No, not Takeoff, the other one. It's two of them. Offset. So, I think they are the uncles. My son said, Mommy, it's Quavo.
I know, I'm listening. I'm like, I know it's Quavo, but I'm not going to say
He
anything.
corrected me. Yes, Quavo. So what do you think the mourning process will be like for them?
Well, I think with Quavo,
sorry, I don't mean, two ways you have to think of it: family and bandmate, right? So how you think that they would process this?
I think that it's going to be very, very different for Quavo in many different ways than it is for Offset. So while they're all family, remember, you, myself, Carol, and everybody else in the world, we continue to ask, what happened? What happened to Takeoff? Quavo is the only person who was there who could see what happened, right? So while we're all speculating, Quavo has the facts, one. Two, Quavo was involved in an argument. 3, it ended in his nephew's death because they were uncle and nephew.
Yeah.
And it's going to affect Quavo in ways that it may not affect other people. The band had split. They were no longer going to be reunited as Migos. So it was uncle and nephew. They actually did an album. They completed an album recently.
Oh.
And it's going to be a lot of triggers for Quavo, a whole lot of triggers in ways that most people can't understand. Now, one, survivor's guilt. Okay, let me break this down for you. Survivor's guilt is associated with post-traumatic stress disorder, which a lot of us just say PTSD. Survivor's guilt is when you survive a traumatic situation and you survive, and people around you do not. So you're questioning life, you're questioning your existence, you're questioning your creator, you're questioning every single thing. You're having racing thoughts, you cannot shut your brain off. It doesn't make sense, and no one can give you an answer. There are no answers. And those are the worst questions sometimes when there are no answers. So the survivor's guilt that Quavo will feel, I think that he'll feel it on a different level. 1, because he was there. 2, because it happened right in front of his face. 3, because he was involved in the argument that led to an eruption and gunfire. He is going to have probably lifelong triggers for the rest of his life.
And Takeoff had nothing. You know the sad thing about it? Takeoff had nothing to do with it. He was just an innocent person. Innocent.
He wasn't in an argument.
Not in the argument, nothing.
Looking what's going on, just like everybody else. And this is the thing. with Quavo, not only will he have survivor's guilt and PTSD and the lifelong triggers that I'm going to go into, but I kind of just said, his triggers may be crowds.
Mm.
Once you have a situation in which your life was threatened or somebody's life, especially his nephew, passed away in front of you, crowds. A lot of people I have clients who were in hurricanes, earthquakes, just major traumatic life stressors, crowds till this day still affect them. It doesn't matter how long the situation happened. So some of Quavo's triggers will include crowds, people, noises, arguments, loud sounds. And you, Carol, and I know we cannot control other people arguing. We cannot control loud sounds. We cannot control a whole bunch of men getting rowdy. And when the rest of the world is like, yo, man, you need to move on. That happened so long ago. It's been 20 years and you still haven't left your house. Everyone else can move on who doesn't understand the pain that he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
The pain of watching your loved one get shot down quickly, innocently, swiftly, and it's surreal.
Yeah.
So while everybody else goes to Grammys and makes their music and the rest of the world moves on, he's going to be probably stuck in a time capsule where he can't. And that is where we lead to complicated grief.
Yeah.
So complicated grief is different than just grief, right? Because at some point with grief, eventually life returns. People go on with their daily life. The complicated grief, the pain hurts just as much as today as whenever the situation happens. It happened last week. It hurts the same last week as 5 years later. It still feels to the same intensity, where they can't resume normal functions. They can't go anywhere. They can't leave their house. They have nightmares. They have restless thoughts. They have racing thoughts. They're anxious. They're nervous. They're crying. They're panicking. And that is what complicated grief does. Their life of normalcy never returns. And you and I, we don't know the future. I can't say he's going to face that, but I can say that may happen. And if it does happen, we probably can't be surprised. He himself is going to be affected in ways that other people were not, just because he saw the whole thing. Because he can't even ask the same questions that you and I can ask. Wait, what happened? So what happened again? So who was, he can ask us because he was there. So the guilt.
Yeah, because I'm thinking maybe he's gonna be blaming himself, saying that if he wasn't there and started the argument, this wouldn't happen. So maybe he's blaming himself, and that's gonna be.
We don't know who started the argument, right? We don't know who started the argument.
Right.
The fact that he was there, the fact that he saw the whole, there's no questions to be asked. It's surreal. It's going to be replaying in his mind for the rest of his life. Even if he's an old man, even if he has children, this is something, a lot of people are grieving Takeoff, which we rightfully so. But survivors are no longer the same. It's almost like you kind of have to mourn the survivors as well, because it's like the death of the old person that they were prior to them losing their loved one. Your smile will be different. Your walk will be different. Your thoughts will be different. You'll never be the same. Nobody leaves untouched. And I don't know the details of the relationship, right? But they said that they were not on the best, him and
that's what I was reading too.
Were not on the best. I don't think they were on speaking terms. I don't want to misspeak, but they were not on the best terms. So just to even have unresolved issues, and then someone just suddenly passes just like that, there's no making up, right? There's no making up. There's no chance to say I'm
that's
sorry.
Another kind of guilt too.
That's what I'm saying. That's another kind of guilt, because there is no going back. There is no, because they've already come to the conclusion they were never going to be Migos as we know it again, but they're always going to be family, but they're estranged. So you have that, knowing that they will never reconnect, right? And then sadly, there was an interview done a couple of weeks ago, where Takeoff was saying that he did not want, he wanted his flowers now. And he did not want his flowers when he's laying down.
Yeah,
Who knew? 11 days later, who knew?
yeah,
And,
I saw that too. That's the
Isn't that
irony of the whole situation.
and you know what? He was the only one that said that. No one else said that. He said that, right? Quavo could have said that. Anyone could have said that in the group. He said that for whatever reason.
Do you think that sometimes people have like they do things before, like they have this feeling that they're gonna pass?
Premonition?
I don't know, premonition, yeah.
I don't think
Clairvoyance? I don't think so.
I don't think for some, I don't know, maybe, but for others, no. I don't think
That's
so.
just,
You don't know. And sadly, men are not celebrated. I'm gonna tell you this. For most men, they only get their flowers when they're dead. I mean, physical flowers. I'm not talking about the accolades that Takeoff was talking about, but I'm talking about roses, daisies, beautiful flowers. They only get it when they're dead. I just want you guys to think about that.
that's
But in
true.
life, no one gives a man flowers. We look at that as effeminate. We look at that as not masculine. We don't give men flowers. But when they're dead, they get flowers from all over the world.
Yes.
I never thought about that.
Mhm.
Yes, so true. Hey, Michelle. Michelle says, hey.
Man, that is
So,
so true.
Reese, Michelle is asking you, what's the topic today?
Oh, the topic today, we're talking about celebrities. No, the effect of mental health on celebrity deaths. So we're actually talking about the
Or the vice versa. It's the celebrity deaths and the effect it has on mental health.
on mental health. Yeah, that's why
Okay.
you're here. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what we're talking about today. And we just wanted to talk about Takeoff, the if how that is affecting, which one rapper that I know said that he was gonna get out of the rap game. So we just wanted to touch on that real quick. It's not a long show today. We just, as I said, wanted to touch on the mental health. I guess you touched on the grief, the long-term effects that the band members would experience.
Yeah,
This.
but specifically how each band member would experience the grief, and especially the one that was closer to him.
Yeah.
Right? They're all going to grieve their family. They may grieve differently, but
Yeah.
one thing is to hear about it. The other thing is to witness it. Those are two different types of grief.
Right.
And to have that replay in your mind night after night, day after day, day and night, so other people can move on and tell you, man, it's gonna be all right. How do they know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're, as a society, we're trained to don't worry about it, man. Be strong, man. Don't worry.
You're a man. Yep. You're a man.
Sometimes
You're a strong Black man. You can, and no.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to get the help you need, because like I said, while other people move on, get their Grammys, have their babies, unfortunately, this will never happen with Takeoff. That's it.
This one, I guess everybody is really, really affected by this. The fact that he was quiet, he was never in the news, he was never out there like them.
The man lived an ultra private lifestyle. They tried to dig up. They couldn't even find his social media profiles. A lot of people, are wondering if he even. Some people say he didn't have any social media, but he was ultra private.
So I have a quick question. I want to interject, and I'm so glad that you ladies are talking about this. So like some of our audience, we've talked about mental health on this program quite a bit, and we also talked about grief, right? But what made you want to, and Reese and Camille, what made you want to really talk about this today? Can you elaborate on that for anybody who is dealing with specifically, talk to this person right now, Camille? What made you want to address this specific case today?
Okay, because this case is what's happening right now, right? You know, society gives you your 15 minutes and they move on. So this case is what it's being talked about. When Nipsey Hussle died, a lot of the young people, it hurt. And it hit in ways, and this happened before the pandemic, actually, when he passed. And it hit in ways that a lot of older people didn't understand until someone broke it down to me and said to me, Miss, no offense, but in your days, it was Tupac. Nipsey Hussle is our Tupac. And that's when I got it. That's when I got it. And the person
'Cause
said,
we-
Mhm.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Nipsey Hussle was our Tupac, the way Tupac was in your generation. So when you see the same topic coming up all the time in different spaces from people who don't know each other, different places, it has to be addressed.
So Camille, also, thank you for that. So this is something that I'm thinking about. So when we see this on the news every day, because like we said, it's kind of pervasive now, right? It's happening a lot.
Mhm.
And we're almost every day now, we're hearing about some sort of tragedy. And it's also with celebrities. It's not just celebrity tragedies. It's just
Right.
Just, yeah.
turn on the television, turn on your news, and boom, it's right there. Just everybody, some sort of tragedy. But even with celebrities, only because a lot of us, like I said, want to live vicariously through them. So we see ourselves in what they're doing and all that. And some of them we relate to, because there are some celebrities that I really like and I can relate to them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I like them so much, even though I don't know them personally. But you feel close to them. So when we get this type of tragic news, how can it really affect us? Can it affect us without us even realizing? And if that's the case, what should we be doing?
Well, think back of, I don't know if you are a Bob Marley fan. He passed before I was born, but I know after I was born, my dad was still affected by it. And, you know, I didn't know him, but there's a lot of people who are still affected even way after listening to other type of music. They're stuck in a certain era, or it just brings them back a lot of nostalgia and memories, because a lot of times for most of us, music is the heartbeat to our lives. Music is the heartbeat to our soul. You know, you can hear a song and it can bring you back to when you were a child, and then you remember people around that time who also passed. So it affects you by the celebrity who sings it. They pass. So it's the morning of no longer hearing their music. It's the morning of having to disconnect from that celebrity. It's a morning, it's a thing of having to live your life without that celebrity, and rearrange your life in your thoughts.
So real quick, when you say that your father, I'm just using him as was affected, what exactly, give me an example of exactly what you're talking about. How he was affected by that.
I was born after Bob Marley died, so, you know, and I just remember growing up, him playing his music. He's like, he's the best man. Everybody else like idiot. You know, he just,
okay.
You know, he's like, oh, I don't even want to repeat a lot of the things, really.
Oh, okay. I just want to have an idea of when you say that people are affected.
When you connect, it was just that there was no other celebrity that he's ever idolized as
Other than him.
Because I grew up knowing about this guy that I never met. And so many other people, young people, I was affected by Aaliyah.
That was another one.
Yeah, I was gonna name my daughter Aaliyah, actually, after the singer, but I didn't, but I was going to. Her death was taken really, 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 I was really affected by that.
That one, that for real, I remember when I heard it. I will never forget when I heard.
Oh yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You become affected. Some of us cry, some of us become numb, some of us are in shock, because again, I immortalized her. She was my idol.
It's true, you know, I never thought about like when celebrities die, how people cry like they're bawling like they know the person. You actually see them crying and like, you know.
Oh yeah. It's Yeah. So once, you become affected, a lot of us don't know, a lot of us are sad or somber. Some of us have other things going on, and then the celebrity dies and it kind of just pushes us over into the depression that we already feel. So sometimes when celebrities die, it just allows us to feel our feelings. And I will tell you this, it's leading me into this. A lot of us who mourn celebrities, we weren't just mourning Kobe. We were mourning grandma. We were mourning
That was
grandpa who
another.
died tragically. We were mourning so many other people that we lost and loved.
Kobe was a Kobe was that one was
Yes, it was.
yes.
But what I'm
Kobe.
saying is, while we mourned Kobe and we mourned Gianna, his daughter, we weren't just mourning Kobe and Gianna. It was just about the loss, everything. It was sometimes overwhelming for a lot of people. So they were mourning a lot of people, and it was comfortable to let out that cry publicly and be surrounded by other people, because society does not embrace that. You are not welcome to be walking down the street or pumping gas, crying, and people are going to, are you okay? Oh my God. You know what I mean? We're not trained to handle that.
Yeah.
So it was something where we could all publicly collect, it was socially acceptable, okay, for us to be crying and to talk about it, and to all of us collectively talk and cry about it, because
Yes.
his death touched most of the world.
And I'm
And
so
Michael
glad you said
Michael
that, 'cause
Jackson too.
Yes.
yeah,
Michael
so
Jackson.
many, so
People were
many.
crying
Ruthie.
before Michael died. People were crying just seeing him.
Mm.
So that one,
Also, I was thinking of, I remember when Left Eye from TLC passed.
yes.
I remember that, and that was a big one. And after that, the group was never the same. So,
Yes.
but what I really wanted to circle back to, Camille, thank you for answering the question that I asked, because I like the fact that you touched on, see, in this radio program, right, we have listeners from all over. And there could be somebody going through some of this right now. And I wanted thank you for taking it broader and a little bit more general to touch on the entire audience. Because like you said, when you're mourning COVID, it's not just, oh, it's just COVID. You may be mourning a loved one who passed, So different people are feeling different things. But I like the fact that you let people know that this is what they may be feeling, and this is why. And it could bring on a severe depression. So if this happens, what should they be doing? How do they address the feelings? And I'm glad you also talked about kind of like the stigma, attached, or the shame attached, especially in the Black and brown communities. We kind of have this stigma attached to mental health, right? Or the shame where we don't want to address it. And it is mental health. If you are going through some sort of depression and severe, it's something that's affecting you mentally. And there is this stigma attached to it where we just push it under the rug. Oh, I'm going to go to church, or I'm just going to, do this or do that. And we ignore it, in the Black and brown community, because there's that stigma attached to it. So just, I really like the fact that you touch on that, because I want people to know that's the purpose of what we're talking about, that it's okay to seek help. And what are some of the things that they should be doing to get through this period of mourning and make yourself feel that grief? Go ahead and grieve if you have to.
Yeah. Like Carol said, one, you have to feel your feelings, and you also have to know that it's okay not to be okay. In society, we're trained, how you doing? Fine. How you doing? Good. One day I said good morning to this guy. I said, good morning. He goes, I'm fine. I didn't even ask him how he was doing. You know what I mean? We're just so trained to say, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm great. And some of us are not.
Yeah.
Your house just caught on fire. You're not doing great. Or this just that you're not. It's okay to say.
Or we're afraid to let somebody know we're not fine.
Correct. And have a safe place. So I tell people you can have Jesus and a therapist as well. You can definitely have both. The church is really not prepared to deal with the mental health. The church is not a clinical, orchestrated place to deal with mental health issues. And it is good to speak with a professional who can assist you in getting the help you need. And for those who are not there yet and who don't want to speak with a professional, join a support group. There are times where you don't want to do a one-on-one private counseling. Find you a support group, right, in which you can find other people who are facing similar situations and get the support in a group. There's lots of support in numbers. So there's different ways that you can manage your mental health.
And okay, I know we gotta wrap up soon because you have another engagement that you have to go to. So let our not listeners, I'm so used to being on the radio, but let our people that are watching us or may catch it later on YouTube, where you are, how they can reach you, and all that good stuff. So before we wrap up.
Sure, I guess. Okay, so I can be reached for those who are on Instagram at CFB Solutions Inc. I'm on the same on Facebook, and I provide services through telehealth at this time.
And ages, do you have a specific age? Oh, no, you did say from the womb to the tomb.
So that's the clients that I've worked with from the womb to the tomb. Currently, I'm only seeing adults, so 18 and up.
18 and up, okay.
Can
All
you
right.
repeat your IG handle or your site for me, please?
Sure. So my IG is CFB Solutions Inc.
Okay.
Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the same on Facebook, CFB Solutions Inc. My website is cfbsolutionsinc.com. And on the website, you can see all the other services I provide as well, in addition to mental health counseling.
Right.
We are definitely gonna have you back on when we have a regular talk about, you know what, I would love to discuss mental health in Black men.
Okay.
That I would love to discuss in when we have our regular show, because we can't talk enough about mental illness.
Yeah.
We can't.
And
you know,
especially these days,
These
recently.
days what's going on. So we definitely want to have you back on our show when we have a little bit more time. But once again, thank you for reaching out to wanting to discuss this particular issue with celebrities' death and how it affects us.
You're welcome. I hope I answered all your questions.
Yes,
you did.
thank you
Yes, you
so
did.
much.
All
We
right.
love this topic here on Let's Connect. And every time we have someone like you come on, it's so important because we need our listeners and our friends. And we're saying listeners because it's going to be posted on our other forums as well. So our listeners will be able to check it out. But we need for them, we can't tell them enough that they need to seek help if they need it. And there's no shame, okay, in seeking help and seeking someone to talk to, and someone like Camille, who is a professional. There is no shame in it. So thank you, Camille, for coming and talking with us.
You're
and
welcome.
sharing with us. All right, reach out to her, guys. Her info is going to be on our YouTube.
All right, and thank you guys for taking time out of your Sunday to join us for this quick live stream.
Yes, our friends who are on our live. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ladies.
All righty.
All right.